Welcome back to Cambridge, Inside Out, Part 2.
And I'm still Robert Winters.
And I'm Judy Nathans.
So let's see. So for this half hour, or 27 minutes to be perfectly correct, we have a few
commercials though.
No commercials. So we could start selling soap.
Yeah. Right.
Or be like the old Ronald Reagan selling Lucky Strike cigarettes.
Ronald Reagan, right? Oh yeah, Nancy Reagan died this week.
That's right. Actually, yeah, and
do a little homage to that.
Yeah, actually, I'll say something about that because when I first saw the notice about it,
Sunday.
The truth is that it's the First Lady. And whether you were Republican, Democrat, whatever, there's a certain amount of respect that is or should be associated with somebody who was president, a Supreme Court justice, First Lady of the United States, whatever. And to me, I have to say, I'm not trying to be mean now, but I say that I started seeing some Facebook postings from people who just the moment somebody does, they immediately just jump all over them and go, well, let me show you some of these horrible things they did.
They did that.
And I thought, that's just dreadful. But it speaks volumes about the person who does it, though, doesn't it?
Right.
I remember these things. Yeah. Definitely. So anyway, I think Michelle Obama said some very nice things today on the television, I'm glad we have a few class acts still in this world.
Oh, yeah.
It's a good thing. So I thought maybe what we could do here is talk a little bit about the state Senate and state rep races. We have a few other things to talk about as well, but these are seats which, I have a personal point of view about this, which is that most people pay a lot of attention to presidential elections. I think in some way more people pay attention to city council races. But to me, and I could be wrong about this, please feel free to yell at me
website
and just shout at me. Yeah. But state Senate and state rep seats are often the most invisible seats. If you're a real politico, Senator Domenico and Representative Marjorie Decker, you know all the names. But the thing is if you're just an average voter, chances are, if somebody says, who's your state rep, who's your state senator, there's a lot of people, their answer will be, I have no idea.
Right, because they don't care
even if they
much about that level.
Right. Yeah. They might know who the mayor is. They might know a few city councilor names. They'll know who the governor is. Yeah. But they just won't know. It's that sort of missing tier of government, where people become elected to state house and then they kind of, unless they really work at staying in touch, they sort of disappear into state government. And
unless they have a criminal for a brother,
for example.
Yeah, Bolger.
Yeah. So anyway, it's kind of a problem. So in Cambridge, we have 3 state senators.
3 state senators.
Yeah, the districts.
Do you have a map of that? I noticed that you had that. Because I think that was fascinating. Where would that be?
It's actually local political rumblings right over here. Yeah, so we can sort of just run right there. There we go.
I'm going to try to zoom to that.
So basically, what this is showing here is, not that I have all the information, but I thought to myself, well, maybe I should at least re-educate myself because, I knew that there was a vacancy created by the exit of Anthony Petruccelli. So there's a primary coming up in April, Tuesday, April 12th, to fill the seat for the primary, and there are, I think, was it 6 candidates or 7? 6 candidates.
Let's see, for the one that's in my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, counting a Republican.
One is a Republican. Now the thing is so this is sort of an oddity. It's one of the things I find repulsive about the way we do elections in Massachusetts. So here we are. You've got this.
Try to get this bigger. Here we go.
Yeah. All right. Well, I hope it doesn't get so big that it runs off the page, but it's okay.
If you want to look at the map, that's good right there.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, what happens is that they have a vacancy filled, and this is in April and May. The final election won't be decided until May, but it'll just be a formality.
It's just to fill it for those months, right?
It's just till the end of the year. Yeah, so to me, it's a little silly.
Yeah.
So anyway, there'll be 6 candidates running in the Democratic primary. Right. So one person will emerge as the not a majority, but a plurality winner, then that person will go on to a thoroughly meaningless May election against a Republican whose sole accomplishment was turning in enough signatures and running unopposed. So the real election takes place and is a plurality election among 6 candidates in April, mid-April, where a lot of people aren't even going to be paying attention.
Right.
This is not the way to elect people to important seats.
And,
but that's what we're going to actually have coming up. So anyway, we could actually just sort of rattle off the names.
Yeah,
I actually need to read it because I don't actually remember the names.
There they are.
All right, so
this is just for on the map. This is just the yellowish area.
Yeah, there's actually only we have 34 precincts in Cambridge. There's only 7 who will be affected by the special election.
It's like my area.
Primarily Cambridgeport, swinging up by MIT area. And this representative district, actually, excuse me, state senate district, extends all the way up into Revere, swings through a big chunk of Boston.
Exactly.
So it actually draws quite a few candidates from outside of Cambridge. In fact, it doesn't draw anybody from Cambridge.
Even Marty Wallace didn't live in Cambridge.
Right. No. So Jay Livingstone is probably the one most of us are most familiar with. He lives in Bacon Hill.
And he's also been serving as state rep.
He is the current state rep
for the 8th
Suffolk district, I think, right?
Yeah.
So then there's Lydia Edwards from East Boston, Diana Huang from East Boston.
Both first-timers. They're not in,
Right. Steve Morabito from Revere and Dan Rizzo.
Ex-mayor of Revere,
Ex-mayor of Revere. And I don't really know who's sort of favorite. I know Jay Livingstone got a lot of endorsement from all the Cambridge city councilors.
Oh, did he? All of them? Yeah.
So I imagine he'll get some support, but it all depends on who shows up to vote.
True.
Right? So anyway, so that's what seems to be happening in there. And so they'll settle on something on April 12th. And then, as I said, there'll be a meaningless general election on May 10th.
May 10th.
Right. I'll just say here, this is sort of in the rumor, but maybe it's more than a rumor.
Yeah, that's the first I've seen.
Leland will probably be angry I'm mentioning this here, but the word has it that they've been sort of interviewing people who might serve as a campaign manager in a possible challenge to Senator Pat Jalen, who basically takes, her district includes many of the western precincts of Cambridge.
It's a big chunk of Cambridge.
Yeah, and that's where a lot of people usually get very high voter turnout on a lot of those Cambridge precincts.
She's got a pretty good record, no?
Oh, she's got a great record, but I mean, I'm totally in agreement with the idea that it's perfectly great to have viable challengers in primaries.
It brings out the best, right?
But it does often happen that if you do have a popular, competent, and politically appropriate incumbent, if somebody else challenges such a person, they are often viewed as sort of mean or something, which I wish it really wasn't that way.
No.
But there is a bit of a history of that sort of phenomenon happening. So I haven't heard of any potential challengers for Sal DiDomenico's seat.
Yeah.
Right, to the state senate. Too. So if we scroll down a little bit here, we can say maybe a couple things on state reps.
Oh, so you have a map of the state reps too.
Yeah, so we have 5 state rep districts that include partly includes in Cambridge or wholly. The only one that's actually wholly in Cambridge is Marjorie Decker's district. Which covers a lot of the central part of the city.
So she doesn't have any other coverage?
No, that's right. She's totally within Cambridge.
Interesting. Oh, right, because it says Middlesex.
Yeah.
What about Tim Toomey? Same thing.
The thing is, Tim's district extends into Somerville. Jay Livingstone's extends over into Boston.
Well, because it says Suffolk,
Right. So Dave Rogers and John Hecht, they extend into the neighbors to the west.
So really divided up.
Yeah. Wow. Well,
when was all that done? I know
that was the original balkanization of the city happened, I think, after the 2000 election. Might have been. I think it was after the 2000 census. So it was probably settled in about 1990, about 2002. When Jared Barrios was in there. In fact, a lot of people got angry at Jared for not defending the seats for Cambridge at the time. There's still some bad blood about that. But there were 6 seats that had some or all at Cambridge for the state rep. Now it's 5, so I don't know. Maybe that's an improvement. I think we used to have one down in Ward 2. One single precinct maybe was part of a majority Boston precinct. So anyway, we've got these, and for the most part, these tend to run uncontested, which I think is sad state of affairs. But Tim Toomey, who's a city councilor and a state representative from East Cambridge.
Yeah, you mentioned that he might have a...
former Mike Connolly, who was an unsuccessful city council. He also ran against Tim Toomey, was it maybe 4 years ago?
Oh, did he?
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
okay.
he's run before. And, got beat bad by Tim Toomey. But, times change. Who knows?
Sure.
So that'll be... it won't be a blowout one way or another, but it'll have a lot of activists, I'm sure, involved in that election. Marjorie Decker is, I think, Leslie Phillips, who's the Ward 6, one of the co-chairs, seems like she always insists on running against Marjorie or Alice Wolf before her, even though she never garners more than 10%, 15% of the vote, but apparently she's already pulled papers for that. I haven't yet heard of any other challenges for any of the other seats, but it's still early.
Yeah.
Remember, let's not conflate the April and May special election with the November elections.
Right.
The primary for that won't be until September, but I believe candidates who want to be on the ballot for that do have to turn in signatures relatively soon for that.
Wow.
So we'll have a better sense of who those candidates are soon, though we don't really know who they are all just right now.
Okay. And if anyone is watching right now, you could go to the library.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah, the Central Square Library right now.
On the second floor is having...
The Cambridgeport Neighborhood Association.
Right, it's having their regular meeting.
They're having a regular meeting.
They've invited the state Senate candidates.
Right, so all six, unless somebody doesn't show, all six of the Democratic candidates are going to be there.
And we'll speak from 6:30 to 7:30.
Yeah, so it's between 6...
We're going to rush over right after
We're going to rush over.
We're going to rush over.
So if you want to come and yell at us, you'll know where to find us.
One thing I have to say is, now that I see that the area that Jay Livingstone covers now as a state rep is basically the same area as he would cover as a state senator.
Except that the state Senate's districts are 4 times the size.
Right. I mean, he would have to cover other bigger than, but what I'm saying is he's at least familiar. He's
got a base.
If you care about Cambridge, right? He's got a base and
from political, from a politics point of view, you always talk about what's your base.
Right. But I can't frankly tell you, I mean, I'd have to look at his background because I, like many others, I don't really know what he's been doing for the last 2 years.
One of the aspects of the relative invisibility of these seats is that if a person does vote, they often vote based on address. Because they don't really know who old people are, and some of us do.
I know them because they live in Boston. Right.
Yeah, I said, well, if I live in Boston, let me vote for a Boston guy. If I live in Revere, I'll vote for a Revere guy.
He didn't have as much, if I remember correct, he didn't have as much competition. I think there's one other guy maybe or two, because I remember going to something in...
I mean, we do have a pretty sorry state of affairs in
This
Massachusetts.
was going to be interesting because these two women that are challenging are both...
is it Diana Huang
Diana Wang and
Lydia Edwards?
Lydia Edwards
are
both up-and-coming kind of...
attractive candidates.
Yes.
I actually look over at Dan Rizzo over in Revere, who's a sort of a known figure, which means he has a bit of a political machine in place.
But he also didn't get voted, didn't they vote? He didn't get...
He didn't get voted, maybe, I forget whether he didn't get voted.
He was mayor and then he wasn't reelected.
Right, but the thing is that doesn't mean he doesn't have a good political base.
No, but why didn't he get reelected if he was doing a good job?
The other thing, too, is they may know how to turn out the vote. I mean, a lot of politics is the mechanics of turning out a vote.
Like you said, that's just Revere, and that's not the whole district.
Right.
Or not the whole area that he would...
Yeah, but in a September primary where the presidential primary has already taken place long before in March. Right. And it is not a gubernatorial election year. So how many people are even going to show up in a September
whoever
primary?
Can get out their bait. Well, that's the reason.
Yeah, so
no, you're right.
People who know how to turn out the vote are the ones who have the advantage in those elections. So
you're right.
So I think I see my sense is that Rizzo has some strength in there. Mm-hmm. I'm going to guess and say Edwards is probably drawing some attention. I got a nice endorsement today from a Massachusetts Teachers Association, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Jay Livingstone is already an incumbent, so he's got a political base from which to work.
Just had a new baby last week.
Right, and he's relatively popular in his district in Cambridge, so so he's got something to work with. So those strike me as the three primary candidates, and so it'll be a competitive election, a rarity in Massachusetts.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting.
Yeah,
we'll report back next week on
that's
what
right.
we hear.
We'll do that. So let's see. So
what else we got here? Mentioned some stuff going on. That's intriguing. That are you smart as a? I'll definitely.
Why don't you click on that thing?
Because I didn't know they had that in 200012, and some police team won or something.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean it's sort of a great idea, and I have to say I have actually had some pretty good CRLS students in my extension school class. So what they're doing is I think this is the alumni group for CRLS. Is putting this together. It's sort of, are you as smart as a CRLS student? It's just taking place Wednesday, March 16th, 7 p.m. So you put together a team.
Ahead of time or there? That's
I think you want to put it together ahead of time.
Okay.
And then you basically, Billy Costa, who's a Cambridge native. Who does,
host of the high school quiz show.
Right, he's a food guy as well as he runs the high school quiz show.
Right. That's where I know his name.
And I've seen some of my students on high school quiz show.
You have?
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah, from Lexington or Acton, Boxborough. Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Second time, look at that.
So this should be good. I'm thinking of doing it, but I haven't really I haven't gotten together with people.
So the actual, we'll have the contest that night?
Yeah.
That sounds exciting.
Yeah, it could be kind of fun. It'll be really embarrassing or humiliating. I don't know, but it'll be kind of fun.
Okay.
So anyway, I'm considering it.
So it's March 16th.
March 16th, 7 p.m. at CRLS. I assume it's at CRLS.
Well, I don't know. I thought I heard the library, but the library closes
at 9. It could be at the library. Well, in either case, if you show up at CRLS, the library's next door.
If you just search on that,
you'll find it. It's really easy. Yeah.
Sounds very interesting.
Yeah. So anyway, I thought that was kind of something worth mentioning because I love stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
But then again, I'm also in the teaching profession.
Okay.
So let's see. Once you go back to our master list here, I can mention a couple of other ones here.
Yeah, you can go back. I don't have the map. Back on here. Yeah. There's the master list.
Yeah. Let's talk a little about sidewalk poetry. I find these.
Well, also the magazine beach thing is tomorrow.
We can do that. Let's do that first. All right.
You want to go to the reception.
Now, I'm going to say, in the civic world of Cambridge, there are people who are just annoying activists, and then there are people who are really helpful, constructive people. So
right.
Kathy Zusi is Cambridge for resident.
Yes.
Really constructive, is just really, with others, she's not the only one who's been
but she's really
spearheading efforts to really remake Magazine Beach area and the Powder House down there turn it into or I should say the Powder Magazine, because it is Magazine Beach, on the former Captain's Island, which is now Magazine Beach. Right. And the city and the state did a lot of efforts to kind of make the area generally better, but there's this sort of derelict structure. It's historic structure, but it's derelict.
Is there a picture of it here?
There's actually, you can see it in here. So let's catch a little chunk of that here.
Yeah.
So there's looking, up the hill from the river, close to where the pool is, up to where the magazine is.
Right.
There is a proposal, and that's not so much related to this. This is there's some decisions about how to use public land. There's a sort of a bit of a show, an exhibit up at the State House.
That opened, I guess,
yesterday.
Monday. Yeah. And there is a reception tomorrow if you want to go from 12 to 1.
Right.
Fourth floor, free.
Right, but overall, the main thing is that there is some intention to actually return the magazine to some kind of active use. Some people don't like that. They say, it's historic. You don't want to be doing any commercial activity out of it. But in my opinion, doing some sort of a commercial activity like a little hot dog stand or a place you could rent roller skates.
Is that what Kathy and her group advocate?
I don't know if they have it, if they're so specific as to what they want.
But they wouldn't mind a commercial. They want an active use.
An active use. So
active could be something for the community. You could have a
commercial. You could have a little cafe thing in there where people sort of go up there, pick up a few things to drink, and then they sit in the park.
It's a commercial use.
It would be, but it would be, pretty modest.
Maybe more like a meeting place for local groups or something. But it's not very heated.
So anyway, so that's coming up here.
Back to the other
just to
side.
say about that, it's not like somebody's going to be putting in a Walgreens in it.
Right.
And, something that's sort of, I mean, if you look at other places up on the Charles River, there are concessions where there are canoe rentals, roller skate rentals and things. The DCR in more recent years has taken a somewhat different view than it did in many years past, where they would forbid any kind of commercial activity on the Charles River Reservation there. But I think
Unless
actually,
it was like the Rubicon or
if
something
you've got a
like that.
structure there, actually, by having a tenant in there, you actually have a means through which you can actually maintain the structure.
I guess a limited way. I mean, it's kind of isolated, and you
It
wonder
is,
about
but-
vandalism. And
Well, it gets
things like that.
vandalism now as an unused
True.
structure, and
Yeah.
actually as a used structure, there's a built-in incentive to maintain it.
Yeah,
And
maybe
that's how it
just in the
works
summer
everywhere.
months when you have the Riverside Boat Club, which is active then, so
Yeah.
at least you have more people
Right.
going.
Now, unrelated to the Charles River and Magazine
Yeah.
Beach, I mean, I'm webmaster for the Middlesex Canal Association, and there are places where, back around in the early 1970s,
Yeah.
they did whole restorations of sections of the Middlesex Canal going up through Wilmington into Billerica. And they didn't incorporate an active use like a bike path or anything else. And that
Okay.
every part of what they renovated at
It's
great
been-
expense
yeah.
has just basically gone back to a dump. And
Because it's
just-
because there's no maintenance funds, or because
if
it's
there's
not.
no active use,
Okay.
then eventually people don't use it, and it gets overgrown. And
I
then if
see.
it gets overgrown, people who are just people who are living out in the woods will start to just pretty much occupy it, and that's what
see.
becomes of it. So it's wasted money if you're not going to incorporate an active use. So to
Well,
me, the best thing
Okay,
for
well,
magazines
either
is
active use or just some oversight of it, though, too, not just ignore it.
honestly,
Yeah.
active use is really what makes it work.
So how would that have been different there? Like a bike path?
Yeah, that's right. But they should along the entire any existent portions of
Did
the
they look at
Middlesex Canal.
that? I mean, that would have been.
Bike paths or linear spaces
Yeah.
were still sort of a bit revolutionary back in the Minuteman bike path wasn't established until I think the 80s.
There was a lot of opposition.
And there's opposition,
Yeah.
sure. So the thing is now most people have sort of come around to see these things as good things.
Okay.
And I think honestly, most people, if they actually saw a modest concession happening at the magazine at Magazine Beach, they'd go, "Hey, that's pretty nice." And I think there's been definitely a bit of a change of heart over years.
Good.
So here's another one. Another item. One of the things your city at work.
Right. Lots of things going on.
Cambridge Arts Council, often just helps to sort of make some interesting things happen. There's summer dance things. There's various other art installations. So one thing they did last year, and they're sort of doing again here, is they're soliciting entries for sidewalk poetry. Now, I think they just embed this into sidewalks in interesting little places.
Have they done it before?
Yeah, they did it last year, but if you ask me where are some examples,
that's what I
I
was just
couldn't
gonna
point
say.
to a single one of them.
All right.
So I feel a little bad about that.
All right.
But the thing is that so they're doing this again, and I think they're soliciting poetry.
Okay.
The dates are you have to solicit poetry, and I think they're not looking for some long
Right.
poem. They're looking for short
Haiku.
stuff, small stuff,
Yeah.
but interesting stuff, funky, Cambridgey type of stuff. I think is really what will work well.
Second year, they said.
So
Okay.
second year, and they're accepting things until 11:59 p.m. on Sunday, March 20th.
Well, it gives you lots of time.
Right. So if you're a poet and don't know it, or if you're a poet and do know it, I think this is something you may want to take some interest in. I think it'll be kind of a nice thing.
Okay.
So. Anyway, let's see. So we have maybe another
back to
quick
whatever
item.
we've got.
Yeah, if you just sort of close that.
All right.
we'll
What do we have here? We
so
did
we're
that.
down to what do I have here?
Vacancies.
Yeah, but maybe we could just.
City Employee Awards?
Yeah, let's talk about that because
All
that's
right.
something that's near and dear to many of our hearts.
Okay.
One of the great things that the city does every year is they give out awards for outstanding city employees.
Okay.
There's some other ones. I've actually been to one where the Public Works Department actually does one internally.
Yes, they do.
And that's a great event for those of us who really have a love affair
Yes.
with our Public Works
Yes.
employees.
Every
Just
May.
Every May you go there, and they actually feed you real nice
They
at that
do.
too.
Hot dogs,
So I'm going to
yeah.
try and make sure. I forgot to get there last year, so I want to go there this coming year. I definitely want to go. But they do an awards ceremony. It'll actually take place on May 6th, and they're seeking entries for the outstanding awards by
Okay.
April 8th. So I think if you go to the Civic
So
Journal
it's
website,
more than one city employee that
yeah,
gets on.
they actually give out a range of awards. I think it's something like 7 or 8 awards, something
really?
like that. Last year was a real riot because one of the people who give an award was Stuart Dash from the Community Development Department. Stuart's a great guy, and I've known him
Yeah.
for years. He shows up to go up with the award. He walks up with a guitar.
Oh my goodness.
And then serenades the crowd, basically just singing a song thanking everybody for getting the award.
Wow.
Brought the house down, I tell you.
That's funny.
But that's Stuart. You got to.
Where do they? You can send in your
It's down at the bottom.
nomination.
You send it to the personnel department.
By Friday, April.
Cambridge.
That's lots of time.
Yeah, and there's information here, or you can send it to Mary Ellen Carvello.
Okay. And then the ceremony is on
May
Friday,
6th.
like during the day.
Yeah, I
or?
think it's in the morning. So
Okay.
that's a short day for the city employees.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah. So, but anyway, it's a great thing,
Yeah.
and I'm big fan of doing these things,
Yeah.
and I think these city employees, people love to bitch and moan and say, oh, this person, this, and blah 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 blah. But the city actually is pretty blessed with a lot of really great employees.
Yes.
And some really great department heads. Honestly, Ellen Semenoff running the Human Services Program. By the way, Paul Ryder from Recreation is retiring this week.
Oh wow.
That's actually a pretty momentous thing.
So his job, yeah.
Yeah. So
And maybe we can just end with the how you can get involved more directly by all these vacancies. That are,
yeah. So in addition to being a city employee yourself, which is great, you should just maybe say give a last little minute here on. There still are 3 opens slots for city boards and commissions that we should do a little bit of a
So which one are they open?
So I think they extended the deadline for Police Review Advisory Board through March 25th.
Yeah.
Right? And I think if you scroll down a little bit.
And then we have...
There's the Human Rights Commission.
Okay.
Right? The deadline for that is this Friday, March 11th.
Oh, right, yeah.
And then there's one more, which is members of the Council on Aging. I think March 18th, so that's the following Friday. I think it says 18th there, right?
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
Okay.
Yes.
So
those are the only So those are the only 3 boards.
Yeah,
right
those are the only 3 boards that are right now currently looking for members, but there'll be more really soon. I mean, people leave the boards, and they've been really renewing them all for a while. The city manager's office, Lisa Peterson in particular, has been really riding herd on this. So anyway, I think we're out of time.
We're out of time. We're going to head over
until next week.
Hear more politics.
See you later.
Bye.